Well, good afternoon again. We're going to let your whole kind of work their way through the line and we just enjoy your meals also. We wanted to go ahead and get started. We appreciate everyone's patience. We just wanted to try to get as many as possible. So my name is Bethany.
My name is Tamika. And I'm April.
And I'm with UnLock. And Tamika's with UnLock. And we got April here with
UrFnLife. So we actually partnered today on this classic brunch. This is the first year that they've actually been doing something on a Sunday during the State Fair Classic weekend. So everyone knows about the State Fair Classic. Yesterday was the big game. I went out there. Everybody go? Okay. Yeah, everybody was sweating. Yeah, it was hot. Yeah. It was really nice. So this is the first year that we're actually doing something for the State Fair Classic, and we're closing out the weekend.
We need to get success, so hopefully we can do this again next year. So we really appreciate everyone coming out. We really appreciate everybody coming out. We just want you all to have a great time. We're going to go ahead and at least introduce our panelists that we have. So we're going to at least start. So what is this? UnLock basically, we host quarterly brunches around the city. Do we have any of our UnLock bays here? Any of the girls that come to our UnLock brunch?
Yes, raise your hands.
Represent, please. Okay, thank you for showing up. And look at us. Who started with us at Team Magnolia? That little corner. Now look at this. This is awesome. So we're so excited to have you all. We decided to do a panel this time because of the size of the group that we were going to have. Usually we have a small group, but we can have a little bit of a more intimate dialogue. Well, the objective of today is to talk about fasting life. We got some panelists here, but we want to make it interactive.
Yes.
Our panelists have some things to contribute and some things to say. We want to hear from you all also. So as we're having our discussion, if you want to add your input or your experience based off of what we're talking about, please do. We're all here to kind of interact and share. And then once we're done with that, then we're going to get back to vibing out, shopping with the vendors, listening to some music, enjoying some drinks. Is everybody all right with that? Yeah. All right.
So what we're going to do, we're going to allow our panelists to introduce yourselves because you know more about yourself than anyone else. So we're going to start with Mr. Tommie Harris. You guys will go down the line this way. You give us just a brief discussion about yourself.
Tommie Harris. I was the defensive tackle for the Chicago Bears, and went back to school and trying to relearn myself. I have a master's in business. I run different businesses, and I kind of redefined myself to what I am. When I retired, I thought I was just an athlete, but I'm now doing film, music, entrepreneurship, speaking across the world, and different things that I want to share with my people. So that's why I'm here, and I thank you guys for having me.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Christina Dove, and I'm a Dallas native. For the last 15 years, I've been immersed in community work. By career, I work for a nonprofit in Dallas called Big Thought. Do a lot of community impact and development work. In my spare time, I have a service organization called Philanthropy, where we are all about service and attaching ourselves to various things happening in the community, primarily grassroots organizations that are doing direct impact service work in communities across Dallas, primarily marginalized communities, which are comprised of Black and Latino families, students, and elders. And so I love the community. I'm all about community impact. I love youth. I think investing in youth is very important. We'll talk a little bit about that later.
Hi, my name is Nietta Reynolds. I'm the founder and CEO of a nonprofit called The Help Show. And what I do, I talk about mental health and I connect people to community resources. And so I just graduated with my Master's of Social Work. I'm a qualified mental health professional, which is a QMPH. And so I love the community. I'm from Dallas, Texas. I'm South Dallas. I really, really love my community, and I'm always trying to reach out, how can I help people, especially those that are suffering from mental health? How can I educate us how can I spread awareness to help us? And that's what I pretty much do.
My name is Royce West Jr. I'm an entrepreneur here in Dallas, born and raised. Graduate of Southern University, also graduate of Thurgood Marshall School of Law. I have a title company here. Also, civically, I am the chair of the Texas Coalition of Black Democrats. So I have the spirit for service. I have the spirit for the youth, and I'm glad to be here today. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm DJ Kayotik from the morning show 97 on the Beat and CW33, so I'm a television personality and radio personality here in the Metroplex. Also the founder of the Kayotik Foundation, so I do a lot of philanthropy work in the market. Aside from that, I'm a husband and father, and I'm just happy to be here. And I'll tell you guys a little bit more about myself later on.
All right. Hello, hello, hello. All right. Okay, so what we're going to do is a typical unlock brunch. We like to have a discussion. This discussion that we're going to, and then always we have a theme for it. So this one is going to be called Facts of Life. DJ, do we have a little theme music for Facts of Life? Give them just a minute.
The DJ's over here.
We got time to make sure y'all get.
He's multitasking right now.
Well, that's what we have going on. It's called Facts of Life. So we have a couple of questions prepared for our panelists. And again, if you all have any input, any opinion, please, raise your hand. We're going to come around and just try to make it real interactive. So, with our first.
Okay. I'm not mad at that.
We're going to run that back. We're going to run that back. All right. So what we're doing is we're talking about life. L-I-F-E. We're going to break that down. We're going to break down life. We're going to do lessons, investing, faith and facts, and then we're going to end it with evolving. So we're going to let Tamika get us all kicked off, please.
All right. So we're going to start with the L for lessons. All right. So lessons. Thinking about where you are in life now, the decisions you've made in creating life you've chosen for yourself. What was your life lesson?
Your real life lesson, like your life lesson, not what you just learned how to go somewhere yesterday and not to get frustrated with yourself so easy, but your lesson, the lesson.
Oh, I actually have 3 lessons. Okay. To choose myself first. All right. I think us as adults, we pull ourselves so thin. We're trying to help mom, dad, sister, cousin, brother, but we forget to choose ourselves. And so all that I've been through in the 3 years, I had to step back and choose Nietta. And see, if I don't choose me, then how can I help you? Right. And so choosing me first, it allowed me to start my nonprofit to help others, to spread awareness, to educate people by choosing me first. And I think, especially women of color, we're the mama, we're the daddies. I don't have any children, but I see how my mom, how she operates. She mama, daddy, sister, cousin, brother, she everything. So she never chose herself first. So I choose myself first. So choosing me allowed me to help myself and my family. Another thing, I learned how to say no. No is in all languages: Spanish, English, French, German, it's in all of them. No. And so it's okay to say no. People try to make you feel bad about saying no, but it's okay to say no. And then being able to be silent, to sit myself in silence. I think sometimes people get the energy by being out and mingling, but sometimes you have to learn how to be within yourself. You have to learn how to sit silent, let God talk to you, or talk to yourself, either or. But being able to be silenced, those are 3 things that I truly, truly learned. So choose myself first, say no, and being able to be in silence.
What I've learned is that, life is a marathon. It's just not a sprint. I'm 44 years old now. God has blessed me to see 44 years. And I've made some bad decisions in my life. I've also made some good decisions, but I've learned from those decisions, and And I'm at a point now that I understand that, you know, if you make a bad decision, it's not the end of the world, right? Because the race is not over, right? You can pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and get right back at it, and finish the marathon, and that's life.
And I'll piggyback on that because my life lesson is similar. It's real simple. Your journey is your journey. Your journey isn't your sister's journey. It's not your best friend's journey. It's not your cousin's journey. It's not the colleague that you feel like you're in competitions with journey. It's your journey. And you live in that, you pray about that, and you stay the course of your own journey. And for me, that has been the biggest revelation and the biggest push in my life is to know that Christina's journey is Christina's. And as long as I keep that focus, and I feel like as long as any of us keep that focus on your journey, you can be successful at anything.
Well, I learned my biggest life lesson that I came probably about 7 years ago after I lost my wife. I went to seek therapy, and I went out to therapy for like 12 days in the mountain. And I came to the realization that on the last day of therapy, I wouldn't break. And the last day I finally broke. Everything that I thought the money, the fame, everything is finally broke. And the same came and said that it's okay not to be okay. And when you can realize that you're not okay and admit that, that's where the answers start to come in. And I had to come to that realization because I didn't realize playing football since I was 5 and having men tell me when I say ouch, to be tough and be a man, and I didn't know that I haven't said ouch since I was 5 years old. Out to anyone. And to really go somewhere and to seek help, especially when as African American men growing up in environments where you cannot say ouch, or your mother took you to be a man because your dad left, and it was okay to finally admit that I wasn't okay. And in there, all my answers begin to come. So that's whatever you're dealing with. Find a place of silence, like you said, my sister said, and seek the answers and admit that I'm not all right. Because if you don't, you're faking this and kill somebody that believes you're okay.
Wow, that was good.
I'll piggyback over Tommie and I lost my son 4 years ago to a tragic accident. He's the main reason why I live in Texas now. One of the things I've learned through that journey, and to piggyback over Tommie, I suffered from depression. I had to go through therapy as well, and kind of just find myself and understand the importance of family, understand the importance of God, and understanding that I couldn't get through it without God and my family. My biggest lesson out of everything I've lost in life is turning my pain into a purpose. So for me, it's understanding what my son meant to me, what my family means to me, the importance of family, and that being my foundation, and taking that as my torch and teaching our youth the importance of family and growth and prosperity, and understanding that you can always go left or right. It's your choice. For me, I chose to continue to go right versus going left. And I've had so many opportunities to go the wrong direction and just push yourself. And for me, it's like I said, it's just taking what I've gone through in life and instilling that into others. And this is actually my first time actually speaking out in public about the loss of my son. So I'm just thankful to be here. And for those who have lost in life, understand, don't give up, keep pushing, keep striving, and understand you're not alone. You know, one thing I had to learn is that I'm not alone in my pain. And I have to be able to express that and share that and grab the people that are closest to me and appreciate them more. You know, I think sometimes we take life for granted, we take opportunities for granted, and don't understand the importance of just saying, I love you, because tomorrow's not promised. And when you go through that and realize it, and something swept away from you just instantly, you realize how important it is just to say, I love you.
All right, that's good. Definitely the lessons that you guys hear on the panel are some of the things that, you know, us in the audience are going through today. So investing in ourselves, as our sister said, investing in yourselves, taking the time for yourselves, and from our brothers here, it's okay to go see someone. The lessons, it's okay to go seek help. It's okay to cry out. It's okay. So thank you guys for sharing those lessons that you guys learned.
All right, so that brings us to our next investing, which is the I in life. I'm really going to ask the panelists to take the lead on this one because I feel like all of you all have believe in investing in yourselves, into others, into our community. So we're going to start with Christina. If you could share a little bit what you think about investing, what you think about the word investing, particularly around what you do, and how you help invest in the community. Thank you, Bethany. So I'm going to start with some facts, and then we'll take a fact from there. So I work in the nonprofit arena. Like I said, I've been doing it for 12 plus years. And so here in Dallas, there's a group called Prosperity Now, and they're doing some work around the racial wealth divide here in my city. So I'm going to give you some facts real quick. Around educational attainment, there's a disparity in college and high school degrees. 16.6 Black adults and 8.8% Latinos have college degrees. This is compared to 59.3% and 62.5% of our white and Asian counterparts. When it comes to liquid assets, more than 3 in 5 Black and Latino households are liquid asset poor. And so I give those facts to say that there's a huge need for an investment into our community. And not necessarily a financial investment. A lot of times when you use the word investment, the first thing that comes to mind is your finances. Like, oh, goodness, they got to have some money. That is not always the case. In my line of work and where my passion is in youth development. And I feel like if we start with the next generation and put some of our investments, some of our time, some of our resources back into the youth, we can change these numbers. Right now, this is what is currently going on in our city. We see big land developers, we see big corporations coming into the city, but our poor people are getting poorer. So we, in this room and outside of this room, have assets that we can invest back into these communities. And I say investing into the youth because a lot of us in here, we wouldn't have got where we are without a village. I know for me, I look at Tamika, I look at Bethany, I've known them for many, many years. I would consider them a part of my village. I have my cousin here, my best friend of 20 plus years, Dion, one of our other close friends. They are all a part of a village. We don't get anywhere by ourselves. Now imagine being a youth in Oak Cliff or South Dallas, one of our marginalized communities, and you don't have anyone. Your parents are incarcerated, your mother is sick or not available to help you with things, and you have no one. And we expect our kids to go to school, be successful, get to college, go to high school, finish high school, go to college, and be successful with what? What are we equipping them with to be able to really be successful? And that doesn't mean you got to go into a school and teach a math class. You can go into a school and be a volunteer, mentor a young person. Find a young girl that's a junior or a senior in high school. Find a young man that's a junior or senior in high school. The schools can tell you who needs what. A community organization, there's a group called Community Builders that I work with today. They're out in Highland Hills right now feeding kids with just money that they've raised off of Instagram. There's kids at Day Middle School that need mentors. And so there's different avenues where you can go and get involved and pick up a student, give back, and it doesn't always have to be your money. Now, if you do have some financial resources, we do not turn you away. Because it takes money to do this work. It takes money to help a kid buy a refrigerator or some college books to be able to be successful once they get there. And so there are just little things that we can do. These numbers, every time I read them out loud, they do something to my spirit because we live in a city where people think Dallas is booming. Dallas is on and popping, it's getting better. We're up there with LA and New York and all these other places. But our people, the people that look like me and you, we're getting poor. And so what can we do to invest back into those communities, especially into those children? Our children are suffering. And they're suffering from mental health issues. They're suffering from lack of resources. And so I just challenge you in this room to be that village that we grew up with. Find a way to connect through your church, through a school in your neighborhood, through a library. Come talk to me. I got 2 places where we need you right now. I can give you 3 places where I need you, like October the 16th and November the 2nd. So I want to say that. And then to close, I just want to leave us with the African proverb. I'm African, Ghanaian, and we live by African proverbs. And there's an African proverb that says, a child that is not embraced by the village will burn it down to feel its warmth.
Well, that was a good one. That blew me away. So I am discussing investing in self-care. So I'm gonna give you some facts and statistics about mental health. So 42.5 million Americans suffer from some mental illness. 16 people per 100,000 or 1 death every 40 seconds die from suicide. So what does that mean? What does that look like? That's big numbers, right? Did anybody go to the stadium, to the football stadium yesterday? That's what it looked like. A stadium full of people. That's what it looks like. So 6.7 of the US adults suffer from depression. That's a huge number. And so the question is, what is depression? You know, what does depression look like? It's a mental disorder, which I guess you all know. It affects anyone from any age, so you don't have to be an adult to be affected by depression. It's feeling sad, guilt, hopelessness, self-worth, irritable. It's low energy, not sleeping, difficult and centering yourself. It's an emotion. That's what depression is. Now, if it's over 2 weeks, you might need to go to get you a counselor or therapist. Okay, a month or 2, really. Most women, I don't know if you guys know, suffer from postpartum depression. So women, we get it kind of hard. We have children, like, what's the problem? I don't feel like myself. It's called postpartum depression. There's adults, there are young adults now in high school. They're fighting postpartum depression. And so that's what it looks like. So the causes of depression is, your job, your finances. If your finances not right, I know I ain't right, death, someone passing away. How do you deal with someone's death? Who are you talking to? Becoming a parent. Postpartum depression. Sometimes you've been that single person. Now you got a whole life to take care of. Like, okay, I wasn't ready for this. Just like you said, it takes a village. It does take a village. Trauma. Don't get me started on this trauma, because it's 100 years of slavery. We can be up here all day for real. But I'm just gonna say trauma, because it starts from, when you're a child, generational. That's where depression starts from. So let's say, okay, so I talked about depression. So what are we gonna do about this? So I call it mental health hygiene. Okay, you got your mental health hygiene. So how does that start? You start somewhere simple by embracing simple things of self-care. So you take a 5-minute break. If you're at work, if you're at school, if you're at the church, take a 5-minute break, okay? Write about something you're grateful for. That always helps me out, Be grateful. I know everybody's room has something to be grateful about. Create a playlist besides Little John and East Side Boys. I'm sorry. Can't be crook all the time. If you're on medication, take your medication. Okay. So blood pressure, take your blood pressure medicine. If you bipolar, take your medication. Okay. If it makes you feel some kind of way, take your medication till you go to the doctor. Seriously. Cherish yourself. Talking too much? Okay. Cherish yourself. Write yourself a love story. Remember I spoke about choosing me first. So write yourself a love story. what he talked about with his emotions. Sit with your emotions and allow yourself to feel those emotions. That's okay. You know, sometimes being strong, you gotta feel those emotions. So that's okay. Pamper yourself, pedicure, manicure, get your hair done, okay? And take yourself to dinner. So you don't always have to be with your mate, treat yourself. Okay. And so I can go on with this list. Do I need to, am I okay? Okay. And then, most important, I say find your tribe. We spoke about that, Bethany. Find your tribe. So everybody in here, we all evolve. And so we evolve in something great or sometimes we don't. But find the tribe that balances you. That's the most important. So I find my tribe with intellects. You might find your tribe with someone fashionable. You might find your tribe with someone philanthropy. Find your tribe, someone that balances you. It does take a community for us to grow each other. And so I feel that's very, very, very important.
Yes. Should we move on? You know, just to kind of piggyback, I'm not going to belabor the point, but as we all know, I mean, everyone here is here for a reason, right? And so you understand the importance of investing in community, in self, and in others. You know, for us to move forward and continue to move forward, especially as a people, right? We have to invest in ourselves. You know, I would challenge each one of you in this room, whether it be community, another person, right, or self, invest in something this week, right? And keep track of it, right? It's like planting a seed, right? Water it every now and then, right? And you'll be surprised what you reap from it, right? You'll be surprised. I mean, that you reap what you sow, right? So invest in yourself, invest in your community. I mean, it's needed. You know, we're quickly falling down the totem pole as people, right? Some may not agree with me, but if you look at our city council, right? If you look at our state house, right? Where you know, seats that were once held by blacks are now held by Hispanics, and there's a reason for that, right? By design, right? And so I challenge you guys, right? We have to combat that. We have to combat that diabolical plan. We have to invest in ourselves. We have to invest in our community, and we have to invest in others so we can grow together.
Right, so as we talk about life, the F in life, faith and facts. When thinking about faith and facts, how do you go about finding balance between reality and perception?
So I want to put a little bookmark here. When I thought about, y'all ready? Hello? All right, so when we thought about this question, I think about faith and facts. That popped in my mind. Many of y'all may not know, but about 3 months ago, I buried my father. He passed away from colon cancer. And so I walked with him for a good 13 months, chemo appointments, doctor's appointments, at least 3 to 4 appointments a week with my father as we fought. And what I had to do is I had to find the balance between my faith and facts. Faith in God that He can heal my father, or it's, you know, He's still going to work it out however He sees fit. But I also had the reality of facts. I was looking at his blood work. I was looking at his PET scans. So though I had faith, my faith never, you know, it never went away. I couldn't help but notice the facts, and that my father is, in fact, was and has died. So obviously that's a little deep, but we all, I think at some point, have had to balance faith and facts, or for those that aren't, you know, too spiritual, perception versus reality. So that's what I mean when we want to find balance between faith and facts.
That was good.
Well, okay, real quick this time. So Bethany and I spoke on the phone about this, and I was like, okay, I don't get it, Bethany, but I get it. It's kind of faith without work is dead. And so God gives you all these different, he gives you equipment that you need, but if you don't use that equipment, then it's dead. And so he gave you everything that you need to know about your Father. He put it all there for you, Bethany. But what you did do, you did what he asked you to do. You took care of your Father. You love your Father. You did what you need to do as a Christian. So, yes, there were facts that were given to you, but you took those facts and you made them work. And so I applaud you with that, because that's hard. And so I feel that with everything that we do, God gives us the equipment that we need. But are we really using the equipment that he has given us? And so when you say faith, when you say faith and facts, the facts are, when it comes to mental health, is that it is an epidemic. That's the facts. Those numbers I gave you are facts. Okay? But how can I say this? The faith that he gives us is that we can communicate with each other, we can educate each other, we can hold each other when times are down. That's the faith that he gives us to keep it spiritual. So that's what I have about faith and faith.
When I hear faith and facts, what I think of is balance, right? To thrive in life, right? I feel, right, my opinion, right, is that you have to have balance. Right? If one thing is off, right, if your emotions off, it affects your work. If your work is off, it affects your finances. If your finances is off, it affects your family, right? But if you have balance in your life, right, and everything is working together, right, that keeps you in motion going forward. So faith and facts, I think, of balance and the importance of being centered in your heart, being centered in your spirituality, being centered in your profession, and if you reach that centeredness, right, you have the balance that you need to move forward.
When I hear faith and facts, it's like looking at the man in the mirror. The facts are, I could have gave up a long time ago, but being a man of strong faith, I'm still here standing strong. Like I said, 4 years ago, I lost my son, and that was my opportunity to give up. Give up on my wife, give up on my 2 daughters, give up on life. I contemplated a couple times, believe it or not, but my faith told me, ain't no way, you got work to do. My faith told me, my son was looking over me and saying, nah, Pop, keep going. It's ironic how things that are so damaging in life can build you and uplift you and make you stronger. Like I said, now I feel like I have a torch. I spoke earlier and said my name is Kayotik. Kayotik is an acronym from a nonprofit organization. That name came by design. It wasn't something I chose. My mother gave it to me. My previous stint when I first moved out here was DJ Hypnotic. That name was taken away from me because it wasn't my name. There was a trademark infringement. I went to my mother and said, hey, you know what, I need a new name if I want to be on radio. She came to me and said, go with Kayotik. It's like, Kayotik? You know, first people hear that, it's like, Kayotik, what does that mean? That's why I spelled the way it's spelled, K-A-Y-O-T-I-K. Remember that, K-A-Y-O-T-I-K. Now again, Kayotik is an acronym. It means Kareem's, which is my name, alternative youth options to improve kids. I repeat that. Kareem's alternative youth options to improve kids. So for me, what that means is thinking outside the box, reinventing yourself, recreating yourself when you have to, and when you're knocked down, getting back up and fighting. So that's me all day long. Don't be shy.
Yes. Tammy.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Tommie Simpson. I'm the owner and founder of Sydney Ryan Metropolitan Laser Center. Question particularly directed towards Mr. Kayotik. First I want to say I'm so sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
I'm with you. I suffered a great loss too. I lost my son over 5.5 years ago as well. In regard to the faith and fact, with what you've lost, the tremendous amount of pain that you've lost, and I'm trying to put these in words because Bethany and I had this conversation and we struggled with that and she helped me out as best as possible. Oh boy.
Take your time. Take your time.
All right. We're all talking about faith. And I have a question about how did you internalize your pain, for example? We all know about faith. And for those of us and those of you who are Christians, in our community, you're supposed to have faith. So that's an external, so what I've learned going through my pain is that's something that's external. But at the end of the day, when we have to gather all those emotions from that day and from that day forward, how do you internalize the pain? And the way that I chose to internalize it because I wanted to do it in a way in which I could help others, because there is a pain there that most of us fortunately haven't felt. But most of you fortunately haven't felt that type of pain. And I've internalized it by expressing how I really felt that day forward by saying things that were untraditional. As far as, I'm hurt.
Yes, come on, Tate.
I'm in pain.
Yes.
I suffer.
Yes.
It's understandable.
Yes.
After I'm suffering today, I may look like this, but I'm suffering. How does forgiveness feel, and how do we make the pain go away?
Okay, so I had to deal with this because I don't tell many people, but after losing my wife, I buried her daughter too. I walked in the room after 4 months and she was gone. And it was just too much to tell the world on top of what everyone already knew. And I wanted people out of my business. It wasn't nothing more worse being a celebrity and having to grieve in front of the world. And then to come with another one and tell them. One thing I'll tell you, sister, is that one thing I had to give myself over to was servitude. And as long as I thought about me, it would always be suffering. Yeah. I had to realize that God put a pain in my life to heal other pains. Yeah. And everyone's not going to have the married all life to one man and all day. Some might get it in 4 marriages. Some might get it and you might be the one that have to lose in order to teach the ones that have how to appreciate what they have. And you have to learn how this might not be just about me. If I can get over the yes, it's painful, yes, but I can take this pain and I can push this pain into a purpose that serves something beyond me. And I found myself in the middle of corners, walking out of rooms and being by myself after healing the world and having 60 million of views, hearing my testimony, and I go back to a closet wanting to drink myself to death and cry my soul to sleep. But I make sure when we're with others, we make sure, brother, you can make it, sister, you can make it, you can make it. And the problem we have with God, we leave it between us and God. That's why I've learned not to just tell you to cover up, but this thing, a lot of churches and people are trying to fix this get over it quick. No, you're meant to feel this.
Absolutely.
You can't escape it. You can't run from it. And the day you look it in its face, you might create foundations for grief like I have. I've figured out how to, I'm not going to let this thing beat me. And I believe, God, whatever this thing came, you came to this thing makes me stronger. Your promise said that you would never put more on me than I can bear. So that means you have something for me to lift, and I'm going to really decide that without God, I am nothing. I want to also tell you about faith. Faith is acting like it is so even when it's not so. Believing that it shall be so because God said so. So faith becomes a thing that you access when you don't have nothing else there left. It's not something that says, if I'm happy, I'm going to have faith. It says, if without this faith, I would lose my mind. Whatever it is in this faith that you need, sister, I'm telling you, access this thing. I know it hurts. I know it, but like I said, I've never seen a cloud sit over one person's house for a long time. It's got to pass, and I'm going to go ahead and pass this.
I just piggyback off of that if I can try, man. You killed it right there. For you, sister, and for anybody else in the room that's lost a child, you know, I know we all suffer losses, but it's nothing like losing and burying your child. Point blank. You ask a question, you say, how do you get over the pain? You don't. It's a daily process, a daily struggle. I have my good days, I have my bad days, I have my weak days. But I've learned how to do is release. I could be driving on my way to the station and just start crying at a red light. And there's nothing I can do about it. What I've learned is that I have to release and keep pushing. What I've done is be able to, like I said, turn my pain into a purpose, creating a foundation. We do so many different events throughout the year, giving away backpacks to kids. When I give away those backpacks, that's my son giving those backpacks. When I'm giving away turkeys to the homeless, that's my son giving the turkeys. So I do everything in his honor. My wife and I created a clothing line called Anchored by God Apparel. I'm going to read it because if I get it wrong, she's going to slap me. So she wrote this. It's a clothing brand inspired by the tragic loss of a son who need to be deeply rooted in faith and anchored by God to avoid sinking into the unknown, bridging the gap between a complex culture and Christianity. That's how I get through on a daily basis. So all I can tell you, my sister, is keep pushing. You're not alone. You're not alone. You're not alone. We go through those moments where we feel like it's just us. I'm with you. And if you ever need a hug, some embrace, me and my wife, we got you.
All right.
All right?
I'm not the representative for the faith community, but I am a part of it. I left my corporate job almost 19 years ago to go into ministry full time. But as Tommie alluded to, and the gentleman, the young man here alluded to, one of the things that I found is that in our community as a whole, we all have secrets. And so I'm going to tell you, I'm going to start a sentence off, and I want to see if you can finish it. And if you can finish it, if you know the beginning of it, then you know the end of it. What goes on in our house stays in our house. That is the #1 enemy in our homes. Yes. And the death of my only sister 10 years ago, as a member of the cloth, really gave credence to the word secret. As a minister, you're supposed to have the faith to believe that all things work together for the good until you're faced with a traumatic issue. And as you talked about earlier, I think one of the things we do in our community, particularly in the household of faith, is that we deal with grief, but we don't deal with trauma. It is the trauma, certainly from what they call adverse childhood experiences, that began to manifest itself as we become adults. So if you grew up in a dysfunctional family, and there were secrets that you lived with, and you have something traumatic happen in your life, and then you emulate the only behavior you know, and that's to keep it together. But in the secret moments, in the darkness, when the lights are dim, you have to deal with the darkness of the situation. And as a woman of the cloth, I didn't do very well. I tried to commit suicide, and I wanted to end my own life. By day, I was wonderful. I had it all put together. I was classy and sassy. But at night, when it was dark, and there was no one there but my husband and I was too afraid for him to cut the lights off. But as God would have who he is, as she mentioned, we all have a journey. It's daunting, it's confusing, it's complex. But there is a Heavenly Father that will come down right where you are without judgment with where you are. And for you, Tommie, there is no expiration date attached to a loss. It will always be with you. It will never go away. And it shouldn't, because that life had purpose. It had meaning. But it is what they did say. It is what you do from that experience and what you extrapolate from that experience that makes you strong, that makes you healthy, that makes you an overcomer, that makes you a warrior and gallant in your own ways, in your own right. I miss my sister, but I celebrate her life because there was something buried inside of me that needed to come out, so that then I wouldn't necessarily become the poster child for the community of faith. But I could tell my colleagues we have to be careful what we preach about.
That's right.
We have to be careful how we emulate a behavior that's not true. And that we understand the difference between faith and understanding facts. He died on a cross. He suffered, bled, and died. And he was still wrapped in flesh as God. We're all going to cross over into places that we don't like. But it is scripture that you will suffer. With suffering, there is sacrifice, and there is always a blank place in our lives. So I trust that you will embrace your own loss as a gain and move away from living in secrets.
All right, so this brings us to the last. This brings us to the last question. It's All right. Okay. So this brings us to the E in life, evolving. So thinking about where we all are individually now, how do we bridge the gap between where you are now and where you want to be? So I'm gonna ask that question again. Thinking about where we all are individually now, how do we bridge the gap between where we are now and where we want to be?
Well, I think it starts with investment, right? If I want to grow and be a better man, be a better husband, be a better father, be a better friend, then I have to invest in those relationships, and through my investment in those relationships, they should evolve. And so, investing.
I think investment is a good word. I would say it's a few things. First, you should invest in yourself, but invest not in just the physical self, but like in your spirit. I know for me, I just had a child, he's 7 months, and the reality is I take care of my child by myself, so I'm a single mother. And sometimes you get weary in your well-doing of motherhood every single day. And so to keep myself sane, I've spent a lot of time investing in my spirit. My situation was not ideal, it's not what I planned for, but it's my journey and it's my life. And so I know to keep going, to be the best at my investing into others, I have to spend a lot of time investing in my spirit. And I spend a lot of time listening to a lot of Sarah Jakes. I listen to a lot of Lisa Nichols. And I read a lot of books. And not necessarily like self-help books, just books about leadership, books about investing into the community, nonprofit impact books. I just do a lot of reading, and I listen to a lot of podcasts because I need things to fill up my spirit every single day. There is not a day, not just Sundays. I go to church, I'm a believer. I love the Lord. He hears all my cries. But every single day, I wake up and invest in my spirit. Me and my sister Tiffany over here, we swap sermons during the week. And that gets me through. And then I also just spend a lot of time investing in the community. I feel so filled up when I can give back. When I can give to others, when I can see the look on a child's face from getting an experience, taking them somewhere outside of their community, taking a kid from Oak Cliff downtown and putting them on a rooftop. You think we take that type of stuff for granted, but we took a group of kids from Carter last year and put them on the rooftop at Southside and Lamar and let them do some of their architecture work from the rooftop, and you would think we took them to New York City. And so those are little things that fill me up. So I would say invest in your spirit, number one, but also spend some time investing in others. It will change your life. It will warm you up and keep you going for many, many, many days.
Well, I'm going to piggyback off you guys. It is investing in yourself, but also being okay to being in a comfortable position. And what I mean by that, it's okay if you're out of your comfort zone. I love to be out of my comfort zone. That's like my favorite thing to do because that allows me to learn who Nietta is. So investing, being out of my comfort zone, then educating. So when you read and educate yourself like you guys, no one can take anything away from you. And then when you educate yourself, that means you're educating others. So those are, I'm going to piggyback off of those. Investing in yourself is important. And then I'm really big into prayer and being very spiritual. I meditate in the morning so I can get my mind in my life. Because we live in such a world that's so bad. And so me being able to, God hear my cry, I hear my cry, me meditate my day, how I'm going to begin, and being in silence, that's how I'm going to evolve and, my evolving process.
All right, going back, and I'm just going to read this to myself real quick again. Evolving. Thinking about where you are individually now and bridging the gap between where you are now and where you want to be. For me right now, again, I'm on television, I'm on radio. It's a great job, I love it. But what can I do more to not only help myself, help my family, help the community? Like I said, I have a nonprofit organization. We do about 4 or 5 signature events throughout the year. Where I want to be in the next year or two is 20 signature events, 30 signature events. Where I want to be, if I'm giving away 150 turkeys this year, I want to give away 1,000 turkeys next year. It's all about growth. Being able to pour that energy into the youth, being able to pour that energy into single black mothers, single fathers. One of the events I did this year, which was a new event for us, is that I decided to do something for the fathers for Father's Day. Typically, traditionally I would go back and go with single mothers and take them out and pamper them for the day because I was raised in a single family home. But I tried to change the narrative this year and say, you know what, let's grab the fathers and have them take their kids to a baseball game and just enjoy that time and appreciate spending that time with their child. Reason being, I needed them to know my story and understand you can't get that time back. So my thing is, outside of investing in yourself and in others, it's just growth and kind of laying out a Gantt chart of where you are now and where you want to be, and kind of bullet out each thing. Create milestone moments. My strategy is always it's never cookie cutter. I think outside the box, but I create a calendar of things I want to do and execute. My wife and I decided to start a clothing line. We knew nothing about it. It was like, you know what? Let's start an inspirational clothing line. We don't know where it's gonna go, but if you have that faith, I know where it's gonna go. So again, Anchored by God Apparel, you guys are more than welcome to go to the website. But right now it's not a Fortune 500 company, but in 3 or 4 years, I expect it to be. So that's where I want to be.
Well, you said evolving. So when I think about evolving, I think about I used to be 300 pounds, so I probably lost about 80 pounds, 80, 70 pounds. But evolving, I hear so many people talking about financial investment and finding your right romantic person, Like the Dalai Lama says, man will spend his whole life to accrue wealth, and then he'll get all the wealth he wants and realize that he's sick, and then he'll spend all his money to save his health and realize he's never lived at all. As African Americans, as people in general, I ask that you take care of your health, that you focus your days with water. Water starts the brain to move at its highest capacity. The brain is now being found in the stomach. This is the information that is going on. Dopamine, serotonin is released in the stomach. Stressors are in the stomach. There's a lot of stuff that people are not healing from that happened in their past as kids, which is called thanatosis. It's studied as toxic immobility in the brain, where people are literally playing possum in day-to-day life. They're playing dead in live time. Because of fear, of fright that happened at 13, but now you're 40 and you're still stuck with something. So you gotta say, it's a proper way. You can say all day, just go to church. You can go to church all day, but aren't you tired of TD Jakes babysitting you? Come to church hydrated. Come to there on a proper diet. Come to there taking care of yourself. Come to there with rest. And this is how the people get out of liability as people and go into Assetville. Is when you do your work. I am tired of picking up people. I'll give you a handout, but help me help you up. I'm tired of falling down when you are just limp the whole time. So I encourage everybody, man, start your day off with some water and prayer. Get you a full thing of water. We got so many things trying to kill us. Beef, sodas, alcohol, party, fun time. It's a real balance that life is taking place, or you're going to lose your mind, I'm telling you. You literally got to get up and get some water in your body, because who's talking ain't talking most of the time. Reason you saying sorry, that's from yesterday. That happened, that stuff in your system that you didn't get out. And energy in, energy out. If you got energy from yesterday, find a way to sweat it out in today, or you're going to give that stuff to somebody else you say you love. Thank you.
Well said.
So one of the things, there's one word that I'm hearing in my head just on repeat, and I don't know if we mentioned it, but forgiveness. Some of you all need to forgive. How can you evolve if you haven't taken a look back and forgiven someone, forgiven yourself? So I just kneeled over here next to my mama because she can articulate a whole lot better than I can, but you gotta forgive. And I don't think you can evolve without some type of forgiveness.
That's another issue in the faith community, is that there's a myth that if you forget, you forgive. Well, you have a brain that recycles information, whether you are a young child or an aging adult like myself. Forgiveness is daunting. Admitting that you're angry at God is even more difficult. But it wasn't until I really went through a loss that I understood what it meant to be angry at God. Being angry at God and keeping it internally as a secret, that thing will kill you. He's not even moved by our emotions because he is omnipresent. He said this to me: the tests and trials that you're experiencing are not an indictment against your faith. Rather than to increase your faith, to believe in an invisible God, to do the impossibilities in your life. I'm gonna say that one more time. The tests and trials that you and you all experience are not an indictment against your faith. Rather than to increase your faith, to believe in an invisible God, to do the impossibilities in your life. So you're going to have people that are going to hurt you. That's just a given. Today won't end it. In fact, for some, it may be a new whole season of it. But it's when you learn how to step over the anguish that someone is trying to present to you and fan that thing away, that you don't begin to step over into where you're supposed to be. You should thank them. Otherwise, why would Jesus Christ call Judas his friend? Because wherever he needed to go, which was Golgotha Hill, he needed somebody to help him get there. So someone that sends some hurt to you, you should thank them. Write a check, send a thank you note, because they can get you someplace that no
for your good. I was sharing with Bethany, I said, I can't talk about forgiveness without talking about your father. Is that okay? I said, because he broke my heart in a million little pieces, but yet I didn't know on the other side of that catastrophe, there was going to be a man who really loved me. You got to learn how to forgive, because God will bring that thing full circle. That in the end, I thanked him for every tear I shed. And I celebrated him because he gave me something that no one else could give me, and that was my 2 children. Look at the situation from a different set of lens, change your perspective, and get over it. And be angry, but sin not. It's okay to lose it every now and then because we're human. Don't be something that you're not. Be who you are. You define it. You walk in your own plan, your own purpose, but you have to do it through forgiveness. It won't happen any other way. You give whoever your perpetrators are permission to keep their hands around your neck. You give your perpetrators permission. Whether it was the mother in the church, the deacon that put his hand where he needed to be, a relative that did something they weren't supposed to do, church hurt, loss, divorce. You have the choice to take that person's hands off of your neck. Are you giving them the choice to choke you to death?
All right.
All right.
Well, thanks, Mom.
Right.
Exactly what I was going to say.
Facts of life, right? Facts of life.
I don't think anybody wants to cut that. We good.
I know.
We
I
good.
got nothing to say. That's why facts of life. We walk through it every day. Life. Keep going. You gotta stay strong. Just know that you got your sister next to you, your brother next to you, in this room, exchange a number with someone. Facts of life, guys. I want to thank our panelists so much for sharing your story and your journey and your lessons with us.
Can you tell us how we can follow you all? If you want to get some information, just tell us your Instagram or Facebook.
Absolutely. Instagram is DJ Kayotik. That's DJ Kayotik. And of course, the clothing line is anchoredbygodapparel.com.
All of my social media is Miller Title / Weston Associates, MILLER Title Weston Associates.
You can follow me on Podbean and iTunes. So that's The Help Show, THEHELPSHOW. That's all one word. I'm on Apple Podcasts and Podbean. Also, you can follow me on thehelpshow.org, which is a website. I put some information on the table so you guys can pick that up and follow. That's where you can follow me, thehelpshow.org, The Help Show.
I'm easy to find. My name is Christina Sade Dove, so you can find me at Christina C. Dove on Instagram. And I have my own blog where the things I talked about today, I talk about those things in my blog, also about nonprofit and impact work. And the title of the blog is Nonprofit Chic, and it's at ChristinaDove.com.
I am Tommie Harris at everything. TOMMIE at everything. Harris. HARRIS. Gmail, Hotmail, Instagram.
AOL, all that good stuff.
And so once again, we thank you all, our panelists. Thank you guys for spending this day with us. We really, really appreciate it. I'm Bethany, and that's Tamika. And you can follow us at UnLock at UN_LOCK_INC. UnLock Inc.
UnLock Inc. So guys, we would like for you to still stick around. We have our vendors that are still out there. So give them a round of applause. Yes.
April,
April,
Yurick. Come up. Y'all, this is our team. team. This is the classic brunch team. I want to say thank you. This whole idea started off of a conversation you and Ur were just randomly having. And we were catching up, and I got to share with him what Tamika and I have been doing for the last year. And he was like, "Oh, we just need to join forces," and this is what has become of it. So thank you so much in believing in us and believing that we can contribute to you all's vision also. Tamika and I have learned so much. We've developed a new relationship. We have a new friend. And I'm just very grateful that God gave us this opportunity to work together.
Yeah, I definitely agree. So I'm April with UrFnLife, and you can actually follow us on Instagram at UrFnLife, Facebook, UrFnLife. I know it sounds vulgar, my parents too, but they know what it means. But UrFnLife is all about the 7 positive F's that you can focus on to become a complete person, 7 being the number of completion, right? So it's not just about networking within your own lane, it's about stretching yourself, opening up your spirit, hearing from different people. We had faith here. We had feelings for mental health. We had financial. We had just a whole conglomerate of people that came in together and networked and talked. And we also about action as well, right? So today's event was all about the State Fair Classic. This is our very first brunch. It hopefully will not be our last because it looks like, you guys really enjoyed yourself. Please give us feedback. But one thing that we wanted to do was actually contribute back. So we do have book scholarships for 1 PV and 1 Grambling student that we will be giving out as well. So this is a party with a purpose, people.
The gentleman from Grambling State University, could you come on? All right. I'm gonna let you introduce yourself, okay? You could just give us your name.
Christopher Calloway. I'm a freshman at the Grambling State University. All right.
And then for our Prairie View A&M student, we have Kayla Duke. Kayla's
Hi, my name is Kayla Duke. I'm a senior at Prairie View.
All right. We're giving back. We will present them with a book scholarship. So you guys continue to do whatever you need to do in education.
So right now we're gonna take a couple of photos, but what we want you guys to do, please go out, network with each other. The purpose is to network. It is to get to know your neighbors, get to know the vendors. We have young alumni here, we have professionals here, we have entrepreneurs. So the whole purpose is to make sure that we are getting out, we're getting to know each other. Please don't leave here without a new friend. And get these desserts. We can't eat that much. If somebody a dentist in the house. Those free. The donut wall is free. So go